2nd board meeting, regular board meeting of April 2nd. And as I said before, the minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed. So we just simply asked the question, are there any corrections? Are there any corrections to be made? The one correction that was brought to light some time ago was the one regarding the word of donation of the equipment for Gilmore, I believe, as opposed to loan, and that's been corrected. So if we have that question, if there are no corrections to be made without objections, the minutes are approved as written.
Has that partially been moved yet?
Not sure.
Okay? Now, two things I want to say before we get started, and I know it's in Ms. Paxton's report, but on behalf of the board, John, I want to commend you and your administrative staff and everyone else here at the Sports Services Center for the excellent job that y'all did to put on the first, soon to be annual Cookout Employee Appreciation Night. I don't know if Jenny's going to expand on it any, but to me it was a big hit. I think we had about 175 to 200 people in attendance, and I did get to talk to a number of people as well as Neil, and they were all excited about the activities and the camaraderie and the appreciation that the executive branch of the library extended to them. So that was really great. We thank you for inviting the board too. I think that was kind of important. Some of the people said it was nice of us to come, and we do appreciate that a lot.
It was great except for the lemonade.
Well, the lemonade ended up all over the floor, and if you had to walk and get a hamburger, your feet stuck to the ground. But John was out there with a squeegee, bringing it all to the curb, so it worked out real good. It really did. Next thing I wanted to just mention, so that we don't, so that we keep this orderly meeting as we always have, is that when we have an item to discuss, if everybody would remember to be recognized on the chair first, and I'll do my best to look to the right, to look to the left, and follow the rules that we're supposed to follow. That is, give everybody an opportunity to speak before one individual has a second time to speak to a particular issue. So we can all do that. We won't talk on top of one another, and everybody will get ample time to say whatever it is they want to say or to discuss. And I thank you for that consideration. The next item on the agenda is item number 6, the unfinished business, and that is the virtual library card update. Mr. Tuttle?
Technically, it is finished business. It's been done, but best place to put it on the agenda and let you know what is going on. If you remember, at the beginning of last school year, the board approved the virtual student library card, which is a project which we work with the Caddo Parish Schools to turn every student's ID identification number into a library card that they can use to check out 2 physical items at any of our branches, buying free if they relate, and also use any of our online resources. And we specifically wanted to push the Louisiana Homework Help Tutor.com platform. At this time, I would like to share with you, now these numbers are about a month old, and the cards are still in use. They're in use for the entire year, even though the school year technically ends May or June? May. So, but the cards are still in use, and they will be rebooted for the following school year in September. At this time, we're seeing results that we thought we would see, and are happy to share with you that at the beginning of May, over 2,000 physical items were checked out by students during half the school year. It's unfortunate that even though you had approved the card to go into effect for the beginning of the school year, it took a little bit of maneuvering to get it in effect, and it really didn't start until January. For half the school year, over 2,000 items, and we have some circulation numbers for you I'd like to share. And just normally, you know, our Broadmoor branch is our #1 branch as far as circulation of physical items go. Well, that's not the case with the virtual library card. For Broadmoor, only 200 items circulated. The #1 branch for circulation with the virtual library card is actually our Hamilton, South Caddo branch, right here next to a very large middle school. Other branches that had extremely good circulation included the Cedar Grove branch, Line Avenue, Moortown, North Caddo, and Wallette. So when we were trying to get to those students in the disadvantaged areas with the students, I think we accomplished that with our virtual library card. Now, I couldn't get the exact numbers from the database because those are all mixed together and it's hard to discern which ones are which, but I can tell you from some of the stories. In fact, I can ask one of our board members to share a story here about how the virtual library card has worked. If Deoncy wasn't out on vacation, she could share a couple of them with you. The one I do want to share that Deoncy shared with me was a sister and her 2 brothers coming to a branch, I do believe it was the Cedar Grove branch. They were trying to use Dad's ID to get a library card, and as you know, without Dad's signature and that ID, they couldn't get an official library card. But all 3 of those students knew their school ID, and they all walked out of that branch with library books. So it just goes to show that it's working, and with even better advertisement next year and some more help with our school librarians, I do believe we will have even better success next year. Would you like to share, Ms. Hicks, your story of the virtual library card?
I would, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I am running a summer program at my school where I'm keeping the library open. Most of you know I'm adjacent to the Wallette branch, so we do use Wallette, and Wallette's virtual card use will be going up. I will be seeing to that personally because I like to be #1. And so the bookmobile, as part of the program, the bookmobile comes every Wednesday. Well, the bookmobile is supposed to stay 30 minutes. The bookmobile ended up staying an hour and a half because when kids discovered that they didn't have to have a card to check out a book, I mean, you should have seen those faces. I got some pictures of some of these kids, and it was just like, whoa, we can go in the book, and we can take books home, we can take them home? Like, no, you gotta bring them back. But yeah, you can take them home. It was just, it's why I got into this business. It was amazing. And it was kind of funny, sad, but kids who go to Magnolia and Linwood are not in the system, but some of those children are attending our summer programs. And they were like, oh, I gotta come back to a Caddo school because I'm here to check out library books. So it was really, really good. It was my first time, and the librarians were well trained. They knew exactly what to do. It was great. So it was a very smooth process, and just to see the kids' reaction and the adults, the teachers didn't know that they could do that, which that's, on us, but it's been great.
There you go. That's my report.
So the next thing I'll be Mr. Chair, the next thing I'll be insisting upon is that we find a way to have a child with a library card from the day they're born. But we can talk about that, John.
So do we attribute the boom in those numbers or the challenge in getting those cards to the fact that the logistics of the parent physically going and doing
But it's a virtual card, so all they need to know is their
Student
ID
number.
number, so there is no physical
But what I'm
card.
saying, the reason.
The barrier, yeah.
That the barrier is getting the parent to the physically there to do the.
Exactly.
That's great.
Well, also that, and those who do have their cards have fees and fines, and therefore are blocked. And
Because their parents have checked out DVDs and their
Yeah.
cards.
so what this does with no overdue notice or fees, unless they lose the book, they're okay. And a lot of them are using the databases, so we're happy to see that. Yes.
And I think it goes straight to the mission of what the library is supposed to do. It provides access to those who don't easily have access. I'm thinking, in my unscientific opinion, is that kids who live in the Broadway area largely have access to library. They have their library cards. They've got parents that are going to take them to the library every Saturday or whatever. But we want to provide access to all kids, and so I think this is just tremendous.
Did we coordinate with the district down or straight to the local?
District down.
Okay,
So if you're in Campbell Parish, and you're a student, you have a call.
With any luck, next year, we may be able to start partnering with the private schools and rolling that out. And with the homeschool children, most of them just go ahead and get with regular life. But then that begs to the discussion of no fines for children, which is another discussion for another day.
Okay, any other board members would like to comment or ask a question? Relative to the virtual library? And John, once again, to you and all the staff, great job, because I think we were all a little leery initially how this was going to pan out, but obviously it's very successful. And I was one of the ones kind of concerned how it was going to pan out, but I applaud everybody for sticking to it. It actually turned out quite well. So, sorry I had a hard head.
I believed in it from the beginning.
Okay, our next item does require a vote, and that is the proposed records retention schedule revisions. And John, just to set the stage for this, once again, the Secretary of State basically mandates certain things and has already approved certain changes. So it's just more of an awareness for the board of the various records that have had changes with the red and the blue marks that you've already given us. Other than that, it's not for us to decide whether we like or don't like one of the changes. Am I correct?
Correct, sir. We're mostly just rubber stamping what the Secretary of State has said to do.
Okay, with that in mind, everybody's had an opportunity, I'm sure, to look at the report, and it is quite detailed and well laid out, by the way, when you look at the permitted retention, the security, the archival, process code, state record centers, et cetera. It's very easy to understand, and I can understand the justification behind it and many of the deletions. So if nobody has any questions, or if none of the board members have any comments, the chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the revisions to the retention schedule.
So moved.
A motion to accept and a second. All in favor of aye of approving the new records retention schedule, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No? Okay, that's great. We have an approval of the records retention schedule, revised retention schedule. You get it, Ken? Okay. That was the new business, and now we have some lengthy reports here. So I'm sure that all of the team members will probably highlight different sections. Did everybody get a chance on the board to read all these reports that you come in? I think they're quite impressive. They're very detailed. So thanks to all three. Beyonce's not here, but Susan's here and Jenny's here. Thank you all very much for taking the time to put down even the smallest items. Because sometimes that's what catches our eye. We appreciate it. Let's start with Mr. Tuggle with the director's update.
Again, you do have my full report, and I do try and keep it concise for you, but I am going to take a minute or two to brag about number 1A, goals update, and our 2018 Shreve Memorial Library Children's Book Festival. We managed to get our first one off without any major hitches. Everybody who was there had a good time. One of the best compliments I received was from one of the authors, or actually several of the authors, who say that even though that was our very first book festival, it was one of the more organized ones they've ever attended, and we do appreciate that. It was a soft opening. We didn't have the 5,000 we were hoping for, but almost 1,000 we'll take, and we will grow it. We didn't have lots of competition. The only downside to any of it might have been that it rained a little bit that day before and scared a lot of people, and I hope it didn't scare them off, but it sure did rain that Friday, but that Saturday turned out to be a beautiful day. And we're already working on the 2019 Street Memorial Library Children's Book Festival to be held in the same place. We got many kudos for our sponsorship of the Shreveport Symphony Orchestra for the 2018 Art Break. Many folks, including the mayor, thanked us heartily for bringing Peter and the Wolf to all the second and third graders in the parish. Other things we're rolling out that I'm quite happy about, we've got our trial of the credit card payment option for copying and printing, something I've been trying to get going here for almost 3 years, and we've got it out now. You can actually use a credit or debit card to pay for your printing and or copying at the Broadmoor branch, and if no more snags or faux pas happen, we will roll that out at many other branches. We have wireless printing now available at the main branch. You can send from your device, whether it's your laptop, your telephone, whatever, to our printers and print. You no longer have to use one of our devices. You can use your device to wirelessly print. And if that continues smoothly, we will be rolling that out at all our resource centers. Our early literacy tablet table, I do believe, is it up and running? Do we know? Or it's this close to being up and running. What it is it's iPads hooked up to a table with early literacy apps locked down on them, so the kids can sit down and learn how to use an iPad and get some early literacy training. So we've got that one being field tested now at Atkins. And we have a sponsor willing to put one in the Cedar Grove branch soon. So we'll be rolling those out as we find more and more money. I was busy those 2 months, out everywhere. Someone makes me go to the Volunteers of America fundraiser, Step Forward's community report. Mr. Howard and I were there and heard some good news, some bad news. The Art Break sponsorship dinner was fun. The Rotary Club of Shreveport South hosted Samantha and I at 7 o'clock in the morning, to talk about the effectiveness of libraries in the digital age. And I've been asked by the United Way to join their Strategic Volunteer Engagement Committee. We'll find some time to do that. The marketing public relations stuff was fun, as always. A quick look at our 4-month budget. As you can see by the sheets you have, we have collected 33% of our revenue totals, and we have expended only 30% of our revenue totals. So, as usual, we are being frugal with our dollars. The only really crazy number that might stick out and cause some concern is that capital debt service, and that's just, it's at 96% because we just go ahead and pay it out. So unlike all the others, it doesn't go at a steady pace. If there's any questions about this, I've got Jim here ready to answer them for you. Yes, sir.
On the credit card, was the hold up the fees?
It was actually trying to get 3 different pieces of software to communicate with each other. We have our Envisionware software, which runs the printing, that communicates with the Cersei Dynex software that runs the cataloging and equipment, and then the little box that actually does the swiping. Those 3 pieces of software just didn't want to communicate, and then Susan, if you have time to listen to a horror story, she will tell you the horror story of trying to negotiate the contract to get those 3 to at least even communicate before we had the software communication issue. So it started out as a major headache for her. Then once we got that worked out, then it was a major headache for Greg trying to get the software to communicate. But we finally got all that worked out, and fingers crossed it continues to work.
So once that is done, would it be possible they would pay overdue fees via credit?
That's a different problem. That's a different set of softwares and stuff. And what we want to do is we're looking at probably, well, it's my hope that we can use Square, but Susan and we're also trying to find a way to use PayPal for that. At this time, Susan's soonest.
So we're exploring options.
Oh, we are exploring options, trust me. As soon as Susan gets a little bit of time on her hands, she will continue to look at those.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is this about this report?
Yes?
About our report? Okay, I have some. Okay, I'm saying.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Let me ask one question. And I don't know if this question should be directed to you or to Ms. Susan Thornberry, but I understand there's a lot of changes being made in internet services at many of the branches. Is that to the internet providers are being changed or something? And I was just wondering, is that going to have anything to do with the way we gather data or information regarding performances?
That was about 6 months ago, and that's been completed as far as I know. Yeah, Jenny would be the one to actually ask about that, but we have made that final switch over to, what's the name of that new internet provider? Hunt. They're a local Louisiana company, and we are quite satisfied with not only the service they provide us, but this, that, and the other, and it'll have absolutely no impact on any of the data gathering at all.
Okay, I just thought maybe it unified all of the branches in simple reporting, dissemination of information. And the reason I'm asking, I know 2 branches that said they've had people come out and draw blueprints that haven't been updated yet, like our library hasn't been. I'm just wondering what brought about the change on the other.
Just, they want to make sure they've got well, that's a long story there, but, and I really don't want to put some secrets that are supposed to be secret out on things, but let's just say that Hunt is a very hungry local company looking to provide service in many places that currently don't get service, and we can leave it at that.
Is that all going to be fiber optics, do I understand?
I did not say that publicly.
Okay. Maybe I'm talking to the contractor.
You're talking to the wrong person. I'm not the person to talk to.
I'll have to find
Well,
out.
and before I finish my report, let me just bring up the statistical report for the first quarter. Not the greatest circulation numbers, but all the rest of the numbers are outstanding. I talked with several of our green gold partners, and they also said that their circulation numbers for the first quarter were down, so it seems to be at least a Northwest Louisiana phenomenon as far as what went down with our circulation numbers. So again, we weren't the only ones. I talked with folks in Minden, over in Lincoln Parish, down in Natchitoches, and everybody suffered a significant drop in the first quarter. So we can't explain it.
Okay, Ms. Shannon?
You said the wireless printing, so they have to be in the library to access that, right? Oh, you could be at home and send it to the library and then just go and
Then go pay for it and pick it up.
mind blown. Also, I just want to give you kudos on the book festival. It was amazing. I spent way too much money, but it was really, really, really good.
Yeah, like I said, it was a soft opening. We planned it that way so we wouldn't be overwhelmed. We wanted to make sure that we could handle everything, and I think the staff saw that there were more than enough staff there, that we had 5,000 people, we could have handled it without any problem. So, and that's a good problem to have.
Okay, that concludes your report?
That's mine.
Are you going to be doing the outreach report?
I will.
Public services? Okay. We're on our second report, public services update. John has a report for the outreach.
All right, just some highlights here. The STEAM camps at full-time branches are underway, along with our summer feeding programs. Lots and lots of exciting programs are underway. Staff at the downtown branch engaged over 400 people during the Miss USA, Teen USA parade. Let's see, 2 area managers and Beyonce took our summer interns around to visit several of our branches while they split in half, and half the day was here training and doing other things and taking a tour of this building, and then they turned around and went on a caravan to see a lot of our branches. That was previously our interns were only getting to see a small corner of the library world. This way we got to show them how large of an entity we are in the various parts, and from what I understand, not only did staff enjoy it, but the interns learned a whole lot about how large our library system actually is. We are doing all kinds of stuff. We're partnering with the Shreveport Aquarium. We're also did some Title I community engagement and worked with SPAR. The Red River Balloon Rally is coming up July 13th and 14th, and we've been asked to sponsor the Kid Zone area. If you didn't see last year's balloon rally and how they took over the back end of LSUS, I suggest you at least drive by there and take a look at it this year. It is amazing. If you're into hot air balloons, it's great, and we love being the main sponsor for the Kids Zone there because it gives us lots of practice at doing major outreach like that. Again, we're at the farmers market. We worked with the sheriff's department and the Vivian Police and Fire Departments up at North Caddo to do a day of outreach there. Broadmoor Library is hosting Food and Fun Fridays. If you haven't been out there, I suggest you drop by and take a listen to some of the bands they have locally there, get a hot dog. And we hired a brand new branch manager, actually rehired. She was with us at one time before, and now she's back, named Linda Young. And she was down at Natchitoches. We poached her back and brought her here to be our Cedar Grove Line Avenue branch manager. And the branch manager position Broadmoor is still vacant. I do believe Ms. Dottie Bell had a question.
I have asked the president.
Yes, but may I make a comment first?
Yes, you may.
I just thought it was very interesting when you gave the report here of the fake news Friday, the response that we got for what we put out there. That obviously attributes to the 85,448.
I was going to let these two
That
write
was so
about
done.
that. That's their thing.
You want to comment on that, Jenny? What made you,
I'm sorry?
did you put that in there?
The fake news.
The fake news? That was
Yeah,
great,
that's
that was great. A lot of hits on that.
It did.
The 85,000 is way up there.
It is.
But there's still 35 angry people.
You ready?
Okay, if that concludes, you have.
Yeah, I got some concerns.
Okay, Ms. Dottie?
Okay, and I got a couple of them. I guess I'm always hitting out on the ones in the country. And you have a part-time, a lot of part-time. A lot of stuff is given to the full-time library. But what do you do for the part-time? I see the STEAM camp. What is the STEAM camp?
Science, technology, and engineering, arts, and mathematics camps.
Okay, you have those on all the full-time library, right?
Correct.
Title I quote at the full-time library, right?
Correct.
I see nothing at the part-time. All these different camps, everything is there. And we do, as I always say, Hickenbottom and Greenwood and others, they have children along, they got a housing project up there. Even if it's over 3 days a week. I would love some of these, plus the food program, I did mention that a long time ago about feeding. And y'all say y'all going, this is a
Well,
pilot, pilot program,
Right.
right? But the kids in Greenwood, Heathfield, Belton, we need something up there.
we
And you make it full-time if they have something to offer.
well, we do provide something. I'll let you know why the Greenwood branch didn't get the feeding program is because they failed to pass their inspection. So it wasn't that we didn't try to put the feeding program out at our branch out there, but it did not pass inspection for lack of a proper sink. There are certain types of sinks they gotta have, and so that was the only branch that actually failed to pass the inspection for that program, or else we would have had it there this summer.
Okay, now whose fault is that? The maintenance or the Greenwood or who puts it in there?
The actual city or village of Greenwood,
Okay, so did y'all report that to the mayor or something?
we will.
We-
But there's nothing that could be done about it by this time. There's no way they
I
could
know what you
proceed.
meant, was it in time enough they could have, or y'all just didn't?
It was just, they just didn't pass their inspection. It was new to us that they wouldn't have an inspection.
Okay.
This was kind of on us at the last minute too.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're gonna take care of that.
Yes.
Make sure.
I don't know that they can though, but we will talk to them about
And I will talk to them too. And I think something can be done.
it. Okay?
All right. Also, the STEAM camp, and that's important right now in the school system. Why can't we have a STEAM camp in that area. Belcher children go to school. Greenwood children go to school. The reason I'm going to that side of town for me, okay, Heathville, STEAM program, and we do have Power One children in those areas. But it's always, and I'm just not gonna, I'm gonna have to look out for us. It's always the full time. But the part-time branches, those babies are there too.
They are.
And I'd like for us to do something for them.
We do a lot for them. We have to, many a time, look at where we get the best bang for our buck. One of the reasons I wanted our mobile maker space is to be able to sit here and do more affordable stuff of that nature out at our part-time branches. But for some of our summer reading programs, and I don't know the exact story behind the one you're talking about, I wish Beyonce was here to answer that one for you. But a lot of times I do know that what we do is look at how expensive things are, and we look at where to put the various programs so that we get as many people per program that we can. And a lot of times what that does impact some of our part-time branches. The other thing that impacts a lot of our part-time branches, such as Blanchard, and to some extent Belcher, and sometimes Greenwood, is use of meeting room space, and that you've got to have a certain amount of meeting room space to do some of these. So I don't know exactly what it was about this exact STEAM camps. So I can have Beyonce get back to you on that one. But it could be one of several things, and it might be something I'm not even aware of. So I'll have her get back to you.
Okay, can I say this? Can I? Also, and we're not saying that because you have, and this is a part-time thing, a part-time help or something. You have teachers, you have paraprofessionals, you have people all over the parish that would love to work and do those extra things. If there's a problem finding somebody in Belcher, Louisiana, close to the Texas line, you got a nice library there. Okay, not that big, but those babies, and there's teachers live there. I just want you to, I don't want to hear that I couldn't find anybody. You know, it's not the same.
Oh, I don't think that was the problem.
I'm thinking, yeah, I know that's not, but still, I just want them to be. Because they have a big housing thing in Greenwood. I don't know about the other, you know, like on the other side of town where they live, but I know where. And there's a lot of kids there. We wouldn't have that many kids at Morning Hill, have some stay in those areas, okay? And Morning Hill is one of the biggest, the second largest school in the parish. And they live in Greenwood and Belcher down, you know. So I just want y'all to consider that next year to put them on there. Something.
We are expanding all of our STEAM and STEM
Okay.
programs.
All right, that's the only thing I have to say about that, okay?
Ms. Waiter, you want to speak?
I think this came from, Beyonce's report, a new manager at Broadmoor.
Not yet. No, the problem with the last statement I made was that their Broadmoor position is still vacant.
Okay, where did?
The new person is at Cedar Grove Line Avenue.
At Cedar Grove Line. So she came back. you said?
Yes, she worked here before, and then she moved off to Natchitoches, and she's back. We hired her back.
Okay, so we didn't have any applicants in the city to apply for that job?
I don't know about that.
No
I
applicants in the city?
don't know whether or not she
I
lives in-
don't have the applicant list in front of me. I do know it took them several rounds of trying to fill the job. She was highly qualified. She's got a master's degree, actually. But she had worked for us at Broadmoor Branch, and then she was also a teacher. She worked for her dad, and then was an academician.
And she may actually live here. She may be one of those who's traveling down to Natchitoches like Samantha lives in Natchitoches and travels up here to work. So don't know
I'm
where she
just
is.
asking, I thought the shortage was still to that extent that, you have this.
Well, we do require, how many hours?
The Cedar Grove position, 9 hours a month.
9 hours of library science school before we hire, so it's just not anybody off the street. You gotta at least have 9 hours
And
of library
4
science.
years of library experience.
So,
Just a question.
Okay, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, just want to clarify on the STEAM camp question. You said that there are activities that are scheduled for some of the part-time branches, but due to some circumstances, some of those branches we weren't able to serve them this summer?
For the summer feeding program or the STEAM?
STEAM in general.
I have, again, without Deoncy here, I'm not exactly sure why she made the decision she and Lauren did to pull, parse out what they did.
And I'm sure she'd be the one after. Is it possible to maybe discuss with her, maybe plan for next summer, perhaps a subcommittee could be formed to speak with her in the planning process, perhaps identify, if the issue is a lack of resources, perhaps during the planning phase, someone might be able to identify resources to fill some of those gaps. Perhaps we might be able to serve some of those areas that we wouldn't normally be able to serve.
I will have her answer this and send it out to an email to all of you. That way you can have an idea. Without her here to defend herself, it's hard for me to,
Well, I would like for us to meet on that. I would like for us to meet on that and see about some of these places, like you say, we need to talk about that. We need to serve everybody.
Any other board member? That's it. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, the financial services and risk management update.
No, actually, we.
Oh, Jenny, I thought you did yours. I'm sorry.
Well, most of it's already been covered, so.
I thought you were for a fine.
If you want.
Let's go to Jenny, then on support services update.
Okay, just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. We are in the process of filling an acquisitions department head position. Our acquisitions librarian retired a month ago, so we're in the process of interviewing for that position. We talked about the barbecue that the HR staff, this was an initiative the HR staff wanted to do this year and offer different morale building events. We did a bowling event in February. We were supposed to do a dinner in Dingo, and that got canceled due to weather, so we went on with the barbecue. And I'm glad you were able to come, and hopefully it'll be a annual event. And our e-branch manager is working on a video program to highlight local bands playing in our libraries, and we'll be posting that on social media. And just to add a little bit to the orientation for the interns, we were really looking at making this a good learning experience for them, so we did stretch their 4-hour orientation basically over 3 days. The first day was the typical orientation, and then on the second and third days, we split them into 2 groups, and half toured, like John was telling you, with Deoncy and the area managers. The other half stayed here in this building and actually got to visit all the different departments. They did some hands-on activities in the outreach and mobile library. They were making some crafts and cataloging. They actually got to process books and put labels on them, and it, I think, gave them a really good behind-the-scenes view of librarianship isn't always just working out there in the public. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So we just put out a survey with our staff to kind of get feedback on how it went from their perspective. From our perspective, I think the kids really had a good time in those 3 days, and visiting some of the branches. I think Beyonce told me one of the kids, I didn't even know, where Belcher was, or I forget what some of the part-time branches they went to, but they never even been out to that part of the year.
Jim?
Gladden,
Sure. Is that enough?
how many students did you have? I mean, how many students?
34.
That was your goal, and you couldn't find any more, and you just said, that's the goal, 34.
That was the goal, to hire 34.
And you, and I like that idea that y'all made it like a learning thing, just like going in the library, children's books and stuff like that. But I like the idea of you actually letting them know about the library and stuff like that. But you still stick at, is 10th, 11th, 12th grade, or how old?
It's
No
high
college
school.
students.
It's high school. They have to be at least 16 years old.
Okay, because it's not in that one that's graduated, like they are senior this year and graduated. But I had two
I
calls.
believe the changes that y'all made, if they were going to be in summer school or something like that, they were still allowed to participate.
but going to college then fall.
Once or, no, this is really geared towards high school.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I had two to call, but they going to college. I mean, they was going to college in the fall, but I told them I didn't know to call the library together. Oh, okay, all right. That's it.
I just, yeah, I just wanted to say that, I'm really impressed with what you all did with the, intern. I mean, that's wonderful, just keep doing it because, you know, it's a learning experience and, I'm sure they gained so much from all the different activities that y'all have to do here and, also, touring the other libraries. And I also wanted to say, some of us on the board have not toured the other libraries, and we don't know what they look like. People like it, but some people don't. And I think, and we have as a board toured, and we have to like something we have to do.
The internship program, what's the purpose of it?
I think there are a number of different goals. One is to give high school kids some employment opportunities so that they have that on the resume. And this year, we really approached it of trying to give them some other kinds of skills. So there's this open campus that's being offered through Dixie that we got them all enrolled in, and they'll be given time to actually go on and study and get those certificates and things like that.
Have we thought about, perhaps bringing in college students and maybe planting some seed for college students to consider becoming librarians and maybe using that as a vehicle to plant seed and grow our own?
We hadn't specifically talked about bringing in college.
Oh, but even with the high school students, maybe as a part of the orientation process, helping them to understand this is a career path. This is not just a summer job to make some money so that you can go be a sociologist. This, library science is an actual career path, and perhaps we can be intentional about planting some seed and maybe going future librarians.
That's a great idea.
That's a good idea.
That's good. I might do
It's a problem that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about the Broadmoor branch, maybe we could roll the future,
Right. We try to do that with the high school students, as they're working for us, and particularly since we have a couple now behind the scenes to let them know that if you're not a public person, there's jobs if you're an introvert also. There's jobs in the library where you don't have to interact with people, still contribute. But we are definitely looking for
Catalogers.
Sorry.
And I don't want to chase a rabbit. What's the closest institution that provides the master and library science?
LSU.
LSU?
LSU, but it's all online.
It's online.
It's online, okay, so,
And then there are a couple in Texas, there are a couple in Mississippi.
okay, so, just a thought.
That's a great idea. We'll put that on our list.
And one more question, I'm sorry. Ma'am, what is E-rate?
E-rate, that is the funding provided by the federal government that helps cover telecommunication costs. You get a discount. I don't know all the verbiage, John.
So these are federal dollars that pay for our
That
phone
help
lines
pay
and
some
so
of
forth?
our, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's actually a rebate program more than a discount,
Okay,
but, yeah, you are.
that's how we get ancestry for free?
No.
That's another, okay.
No.
It ain't free.
Does the library postage come under that too? No.
They've been restricting more and more things. You used to get telephone under that, that's went away. You used to get other things under, now it's strictly internet.
Anyone else? Questions? Thank you. No. Okay, now, for the last report of the day, the financial services risk management update. Susan Clark.
I won't go over the whole report, just a couple of highlighted items. For example, I'm very excited about the upcoming Broadmoor roof, and by the next time we meet, it should be completed, because any day now, the next week or so, we should be tackling that roof. So it's been needing to be done, and we're gonna be able to take care of that. Also, you may have read there in our report that, we had an offer from Testament Construction. They, were knocking down trees and stuff. There's 3.5 acres behind the Cedar Grove Library, behind a fence. And it's just been a little wooded area for decades, between the neighborhood that's back there and our library fence. And they've been knocking those trees down. They're gonna build a little office complex and a concrete parking lot. And one of the things they have to do is put a fence up. And they said, well, it doesn't make sense for them to put a fence up against our fence. And so they offered to donate the fencing because we've already got the brick columns. And we were in a state where probably our worst fence that needs to be replaced is at Cedar Grove, and we were getting ready to get bids and quotes and things and do that when they made that offer. And they're offering a better caliber of wood and staining probably than we would have gone with anyway. So for that fence line there behind Cedar Grove that abuts their new development, we're gonna let them replace that. It's like a win-win. It'll be a donation on their part of $9,000 something worth of materials and services. Then the other fence line that extends down the Line Avenue, we'll do it ourselves to match it. So we'll have a nice matching fence, no two fence, and it's win-win. All right, the final thing I want to mention, and I didn't think about this to put it on my report, is we've got new carpet in here, the front area there, and the atrium. I've been dealing with the contractor for a couple of years on a warranty item where we reported when we initially installed the carpet in this building, they just slapped it down on an existing slab. They didn't do any kind of testing or anything like that. And that front section of the building has some areas that had some moisture issues. And so, you know, you had some carpet squares that were popping up and looking unsightly. And it's taken a couple of years to stay on their case, and they finally came under warranty and surprised me. They did this entire room and all that whole area. So if you remember how it looked before, it's significantly better. We got with the manufacturer, we got a new process to put it down, and it's supposed to be much better than the process they used in the first place. Any questions?
So is the moisture issue resolved?
Yes.
Okay. And the Cedar Grove branch, you said that, when you say behind, so right now where there are trees, that organization's gonna knock that down.
Already done.
Already knocked the trees down.
And they're building their own facility, but they're going to, their fence will be our fence.
Yeah, we'll share a fence. We will own the fence. We made that clear. They're just taking down our really bad boards that we were gonna turn around and take down ourselves and replace. And they've offered a nicer caliber of wood than we were probably gonna select. Because they want a nice looking fence and we're getting a nice looking fence. And we needed a couple of metal support poles. The runs between the brick columns were quite long in some cases. And our fencing guys we had started to talk to said you need a metal pole in between to kind of add extra support. They're going to put that in as part of it. So it's looking like a really good proposal.
Anybody have a question?
That's great.
And I'll just add to that, I think you mentioned it, but we stand to save approximately $10,000 by them, their generosity in redoing the fence for us. That's a great thing. Thank you.
The number two was very expensive.
Very expensive. And it'll be a very attractive fence to a substantial fence. Okay, we're getting ready here at the end. I have two things I want to mention. And one, John and I know the board likes to do things. We've already written a thank you letter to the contracting firm, thanking them for the donation of the fence and so forth. So that's been done. The other thing I did want to mention before we close is the ad hoc committee for the foundation. Ad hoc committee did meet earlier today at 1 o'clock prior to this meeting, and they've got everything together, and they will be making a recommendation to the full board at the next meeting. And the next meeting will be July 30th. So just a reminder that we sort of have a totally different schedule this year than we did the previous year. And with that, I don't think I have any other business. Does any board member have anything to bring up?
Oh, I want to correct something. that it's Bethany, Louisiana, I'm talking about Belcher, Belcher's in that area. Bethany is in mine. But I've been at Belcher, they got a nice library, but Bethany also is gonna forget. We right there in Texas, I y'all forget, and I'm like, Dolores said, I would like for us to take a tour of all the libraries. One's on my side of town and one on the other side of town, in the country. We take a picnic lunch in the country.
The problem with more than 3 of you meeting at any given time is that constitutes a quorum of the board. So as long as you don't want to go more than 3 of you to visit any number of branches, that's fine with me. But at the point to where you get a quorum, you're violating laws if you do not sit here and do an open meeting and post and all that good stuff.
All you can say is that the board, and that could be a meeting, is going on the tour of the library. We do that all the time, and you can put it as a board meeting. But we'll just have our board meeting, our meeting going on the tour of something we really need to go and visit those libraries.
Well, you could actually have meetings at different branches. That's not
That's
a
what we
problem.
used to do.
Yeah.
Well, we might want to consider that.
I know we should go to the school board and take it.
Ms. Hicks?
Or could we just on our own make it our business to go to the different libraries?
Yes.
I just like I love for people to see members on the board. Some you have people don't know the board members have to do. We just need to make ourselves available sometime. And I know y'all have not been up there in the Belton. And you have not been there. So that's what I'm saying. I know you've been there. Okay, so we've been in Belton.
If you've never,
Go ahead.
if you've never taken the tour before, or like you said, with the school board, if you've never taken a board tour before, it's fun.
It's
You know,
good fun. We can do it.
It's more fun than just going on your own.
Well, I want to make a suggestion, John, that we take a look. I think it would be, you couldn't do it all in one day.
No,
You'd have to
Yeah,
make
2 or 3 days.
that's for sure. We're looking at the possibility of scheduling it as a tour, to be familiar as board members with all of your branches. And maybe we could do that, schedule it. There's been other proposals too, having dinners where we all get to know each other personally, other than just professionally. So let's explore some of those. I think it would be good for the morale of the board and the employees, in the system to do some of these things.
I just wanted to make a note, mention to Mr. Tuggle and Mr. Tebby earlier before we started that at Southern Shreveport, we had our career fair April 18th, and Miss Walanda Hall of Wildette, she actually participated in that career fair and set up a table and represented very well.
Great. Any other last comments before we close, Mr. Morris?
We had our health day, and I had mentioned it at the last board meeting, and Sri Memorial did represent very well. Ms. Davis came from, what is it, Moortown?
Was Marcus there also, Marcus?
Marcus Davis, and someone else whose name I don't remember, and I think the bookmobile was there, but we weren't really allowed to utilize it.
And also, President,
Or is that the
Yes.
and also, and I don't know if it met when y'all met at the, Commissioner Lewis Johnson, had a town hall meeting in the West Shreveport area. It was, now they was well represented in the library, and also at the Rose Center. He had also one there, so it was nice. The library the library had a lot of display. I was like bragging about it, but they was gonna have a nice one and giving things out. Everybody was excited. But it was when the West Shreveport was a packed house with it. It was nice.
And one last thing I have to say is that I think it's wonderful how the library is immersing itself into the community. And I think we should be reminded, because I forgot, to take plenty of pictures so that if you ever have to,
Please.
if we ever have to, if we ever need these pictures and documentation of what all we're doing as a library, we can.
Actually, if you take any photos at any of our events we're representing, if you would please send them to Samantha so she can get them on social media.
I may have to look at it. I don't know.
Well, you could spend all day looking at the pictures on Instagram. And they're great. They cover the activities extremely well. I want to thank the board for all their cooperation today. And my request to be recognized before you speak. I just want to try and give everybody an equal opportunity to speak. If there's nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So move on to six. And second on the, thank you all very much. So speak, wait. All in favor, aye?
Aye. Good
Yeah,
job.
we-
Good job.
Wait,